So Advent box number 9 is the quilled Christmas stars. So this is just a great activity. Once you get the knack of twirling the papers, then you'll be away making lots of different stars. So I'm gonna show you all what should have in front of you. So you should have some quilling papers and your quilling tool. I've got my glue stick that was in box 1, so you need to make sure you've still got that glue stick from box 1. Some little Del Monte gems and a pair of scissors, a pencil and a ruler, and I've just laid mine down on this dark blue paper so that you can see what you're making. And then to help, I've just got a plastic wallet here that I'm going to lay mine on as I work, so any kind of work surface that you're not concerned about you can put under it. You just need something that you're not worried that if glue goes on it that you'll be able to peel it off from later. It's not really a great idea to put it on cardboard because if it sticks to it then it's going to tear away, so just have something plasticky or a plastic tablecloth or something underneath it that is going to make it easier to remove. So you've got a quilling tool here. Yours might be pink, it might be blue. It's got a little slot in the end, which is where the papers fit in. And you've got your pearlescent quilling papers. And to take a quilling paper from the pack, do it with care at each end because they will split otherwise. So just pull it from one end and then go to the other end and pull it from there. And that will get you your piece of quilling paper ready to go. And I do advise that you add a little bit of glue before you start the quilling process on some of the shapes. It just saves you not having enough hands when you get to the end of your quill. So to start with, we're going to quill all the shapes before we fit them together. And it's these 6 tightly quilled pieces that we're going to do to start with because they're the easiest ones to get to grips with if you've never done any quilling before. Okay, so pop a little bit of glue on the end of your quilling paper, and not too much because it is PVA, it's good strong glue, just enough to hold it. And then pop the lid back on your glue so that's out the way, and then get the end without the glue on. That's why I say it's helpful to have a surface that you're not worried if it gets glue on it. And then fit the quilling paper in the end and then twist the quilling tool in your hand because you're spiraling it as tight as you can, and you just need to keep feeding the paper so that it's feeding right over the top in line each time as you go, and you'll see the paper getting shorter and shorter. So just be ready when you're going to get to the end with the glue on it because you don't want to rub it all off on your fingers. And then follow the quill paper round so that you stick that end down. And then take it off your quilling tool. You can flatten it down, and that's your first tightly quilled piece of paper. And you're going to repeat that, do that 6 times. So I've done it once, so 5 more. Okay, so I'm back having done 6 of these tightly wound quills. Now it can get tempting as you get carried away knowing what you're doing to not put the glue on till you're at the end of the roll, but sometimes it doesn't hold then because you haven't given the glue a chance to go a bit tacky. So I do recommend putting that glue on before you roll it up, especially when you're doing the tight ones because they're the ones that are, tricky to hold. So we're going to move on now. We've got another piece of quilling paper and we need to make some that are eye shaped now. So to do that, I'm going to measure 8 centimeters from the end of my quilling paper. So I pop it on my ruler and I'm going to put a little pencil mark at 8 centimeters. And that's going to show me where I need to let the quill unwind to and where the glue will secure it together. So you start with the same process. I'm not adding glue this time. I'm just going to start spirally. So you just do it tightly, just like you have all the others. This time, when I take it off the quilling tool, I'm going to let it sort of, you know, unwind like that. Okay, just naturally on its own. And I want to get it to a point. I can just hold it up to the camera. I want to get it to a point where the end is in line with my pencil mark. And that's where I'm going to glue it to. So add a little bit of glue and then stick that so that it's in line with that pencil mark, and then pop it down. Now this time we're making these eye-shaped ones, so if you want to, you can encourage it to unravel a little bit more. Then when you're happy with it, you're going to make sure that the bulk of the wind is in the middle, and then just squeeze each end together like that. And then we're going to make 6 identical ones to that. Right, so there are 6 of the eye-shape quills, and again with your 8 centimeters marked on the end of your quilling paper, I'm going to do the teardrop ones now. So same principle in terms of wrapping the quill, nice and tight. And then exactly the same when we let it go, so that it unwinds. Let's do its thing. And then gently pick it up and look to the side for the pencil mark. Just got to add the glue up to the pencil mark and stick that end down like so. And then this time we want the teardrop shape, so I'm going to keep the spiral to one end, and as I do that I'm going to squeeze together the end of the teardrop like that. So that just keeps it with the spiral at this end and the teardrop at that end there. And just squeezing those last few winds gives it that shape that we're after. So I need 6 of those, so 5 more to make, and then I'll show you how to put it together. Right, so all the component parts are made, and now all that's left to do is to build it so that it looks like a star. So we won't be needing those bits until the very end. And those bits that we've just made, I can just pop to one side, because the first job is to organise the eye-shaped ones into a star shape, like so. And you just have to decide where the glue is going to go on each edge so that it falls into that star shape. Once we've glued those together, then these ones are going to go in between each of those, and then one of those is going to go on the end. And then you'll just need to leave it to dry really well before you then thread it with some thread and pick it up and it be able to stay as one. So let's get gluing, and I'll speed this up rather than talk all the way through it. So you could see it was quite fiddly, but once the glue got tacky and you could manipulate it where it needed to be, the important thing is marry up the ends of the eyeballs, but glue them just here, just a section away from the end, because you don't want to glue those ends together. You're trying to make a star shape in the middle. Okay, and then these, we're going to put some glue on the sections there and add these one at a time into the middle of these. So the best thing to do is put the glue on the teardrop and then just move it into position and then just leave it there until it dries. So I'll do that and come back to you with it done. Okay, so the good thing about PVA glue is it dries clear, so if you can see any blobs of it at the moment, you won't see it when it's dry. And try not now to touch it, just use your cloth that you've put it on to move it if necessary to where you need it to be. And then I'm just going to add some glue to the edge of these and then stick those to the ends of the star. Make sure you put a good blob on. Make sure it'll hold nice and straight. When you get to this point, you find that spend lots of time with things stuck to your fingers rather than the star. Okay, that's the last bit in position. So the final thing to do is to add these little Del Montes to the end, but it's best to do that once it's dry and it's all stuck in place, so that you don't disturb anything while it's still setting. And then you can repeat, because you've got enough to make 5 of them, and I think they'll look really nice hung from a window, especially with dark nights, and if you've got some twinkly lights around them, then they'll look really good.